The room is warm with practiced agreement. Slides glow, nods ripple, and the meeting hums like a hive that knows its song. You raise a hand and offer one honest line. The plan looks fast and brittle. The risk is quality we can't repair later. Chairs shift. A laugh hides a wince. The air thins by a degree careful people feel. You didn't accuse anyone. You only named the thing on the table. Still, you sense the temperature change, as if truth tracked mud across a polished floor. The mind that stops nodding starts living. It is a quiet rebellion, not against people but against the inertia that keeps them safe and small. Most rooms reward rhythm over reading. They prefer the warm blur of momentum to the cold clarity of consequence. When you refuse the lullaby, you sound off-key even when you are tuned. Call it a social crime. Not law, just a felt punishment. Fewer smiles, a tighter tone, invitations edged with caution. The mask you wore for them pinches at the strap. Jung would light a lamp here and stand beside you. He'd nod at the ache and remind you that a self outgrows its costumes, the way spring outgrows winter coats. The discomfort isn't failure. It's a fitting. This is the tension that shapes a life. Belonging or becoming, applause now or self-respect later. Belonging warms quickly and cools fast. Becoming warms slowly and stays. You are not required to trade your center for company. You are allowed to carry both in sequence. First the truth, then the room, never the reverse. Persona is clothing. Useful, chosen, and not your bones. It keeps the gears from grinding. It helps you enter rooms where strangers need a simple headline about you. Jacket for the pitch, softer voice for the hospital, a bright "I've got it" when the team looks tired. Nothing wrong with a coat when the weather calls for it. The trouble begins when the coat decides the season and you forget your own climate. Think of the colleague everyone praises because nothing seems to be a problem. Deadlines narrow. They smile. Scope creeps, they nod. Weekend work appears. They volunteer. They're fluent in yes, elegant in no worries. Months later, the quiet breakdown arrives on schedule. Not scandal, just a thinning. Sleep that won't stay. A laugh that doesn't ring. A patience that frays at the edges. The life looks intact from a distance. Up close, it's held together by apologies. That is the cost of letting persona replace self. Social readability outruns inner accuracy. You become easy to place and hard to recognize. Your calendar tells a story you didn't write. Your words sound friendly and feel foreign. The mask wins the room while the person loses the night. Accuracy would rather disappoint early than resent forever. Here is balm, you didn't fake it. You survived it. Masks are built from loyalty and intelligence, from the wish to spare others and the skill to read a room. They worked until you grew. You're allowed to thank the costume, fold it, and put it on the hook while you walk barefaced into a day that fits. Keep the distinction close. Coat versus skeleton, headline versus marrow. Use persona to smooth the doorway. Let the self decide the house. If the mask keeps peace, who starts the war? Watch projection very carefully. Groups carry unowned traits like contraband they don't want to inspect. Whatever no one will claim, doubt, ambition, anger, appetite looks criminal on the nearest dissenter. You say the obvious quiet thing, and the room hears a confession you never made. It isn't about your sentence as much as their storage. Your thought becomes the face they tape over a locked box. A small scene. Your calm is called passive in a meeting that's running too hot. You keep your pace and ask for the relevant dates. Weeks later, the manager who flinched invites you for coffee and admits, almost relieved, "I was panicking and wanted everyone to panic with me." Your calm made me feel exposed. There it is, not your flaw, their fear asking for company. We prosecute in others what we can't parole in ourselves. If a group can't pardon its own uncertainty, it arrests yours. If it has banished hunger for excellence as arrogant, it will cuff your standards. Projection is a quick courtroom where evidence is optional and verdicts are feelings. It buys comfort fast and charges respect later. There's also the glue of shared fictions. A team tells itself it's always nimble, or always kind, or always right, and the story becomes armor for a fragile identity. Your correction threatens the costume, so the costume bites. The pushback feels personal because it is delivered with faces. It is structural because it protects a myth. You are not wrong. You are off script. Relief begins when you stop translating every grimace as data about your worth. Start treating it as weather, pressure fronts from unowned parts. Stand nearer to facts and let their temperature drop. You can think aloud without being baited if you carry your own pulse and ask questions that return attention to the table, not the theater. We'll test a way to think aloud without being baited. Watch a school of fish from above, and you'll understand rooms. Tight turns protect the body. One mind spreads across many fins. When danger passes, the shape relaxes, and hundreds drift like a single thought. Conformity isn't evil. It's engineering. Move together and you confuse the teeth. Stay small, stay safe, stay inside the shimmer, until the turn heads toward a net. Groups follow physics of pulse. Respect accrues to the one who keeps tempo, not volume. The voice that sets a steady beat becomes a reference point others borrow, sometimes without noticing. When panic spikes, loudness multiplies noise. Metronome minds lower it. That's why calm can feel like leadership long before authority arrives. The body seeks rhythm. It doesn't care who drums, only that the drum is reliable. Novelty travels the room as a question. Is this a spark or a fire? Herd mind errs on the side of threat. Familiar error is safer than unfamiliar accuracy, because the former preserves belonging. We have always turned left here beats left is wrong when teeth might be near. So the group keeps turning, wearing grooves into the water. You feel the pull even when you know a straighter line. Forgive it. The instinct once saved us. Navigate it. Give the shoal a path that costs them less than stopping. Offer facts, then a next step sized for breath. Move at a human pace that other bodies can copy. Carry your own rhythm like a lighthouse that doesn't shout. It simply refuses to sway. You can nod to the current and still steer your keel toward true water in quiet practice. Practice holding your center while the edges rush. We'll try a 2-minute ritual that lets you enter noisy rooms without trading your pulse for theirs, and leave with yours intact. It happens quietly. You nod with the team because the hour is late, and the slide looks confident. Later, in a small room, you correct the course you publicly endorsed. Nothing catastrophic, just soul erosion, a grain of self-trust traded for smoothness. Repeat it enough, and your voice becomes background music in your own life. Burnout arrives disguised as competence. You performed the part. You lost the plot. Call it borrowed thinking. Rented opinions feel light at the checkout and heavy at delivery. They come with fine print. Dependence on whoever shaped them. Fear of standing alone, guilt when results wobble. Owned conclusions cost more upfront. Time to read, space to think, courage to say the thing before it is fashionable. But they pay in peace. You can defend them without inventing a second self. Your hesitation is intelligence refusing to lie. It is not weakness to pause. It is repair. To move from renting to owning, make small honest moves that restore authority without theater. First reform. Speak one true sentence in the room where the decision is made. Short, factual, clean. Shipping fast here risks breaking trust. Let silence do some labor. Second, replace sounds good with a clarifying question that tests reality. What will we stop to fit this in? Answers reveal who is guessing and who is ready. Third, write a 2-line record after meetings, decision, and next step. Share it. Rented opinions drown in fog. Owned ones travel on paper. By Friday, you'll notice the floor rise beneath you. Fewer apologies drafted. Fewer secret edits at midnight. More energy for work you will gladly defend. This is how authority returns, not louder, steadier. The day begins with jaw tension you notice only when you yawn. Your thumb wakes before you do, reaching for the phone, feeding a hunger that never fills. Headlines stack, messages blink, and you feel the sigh arrive a footstep before each meeting. You are present technically, but the center of you stands a few inches behind your face, watching the hours pass like weather. This is not a moral failure. It is a message. Fatigue is the body's veto on borrowed scripts. It refuses to spend breath on a life performed for approval and patched together with hurry. The ache under your ribs is intelligence tapping the table. Something in the story is wearing your name without your consent. When you try to bribe it with caffeine, it nods politely and waits by the door. Listen to the veto instead of arguing it away. Ask which parts of the week fit like your own shoes and which felt rented. Notice where your voice slowed because truth would not sprint. Let tiredness index the rooms that cost you more than they pay. You are allowed to reduce speed without abandoning care, to choose clear over quick, to act at a human pace that thinking can keep up with. Energy returns where honesty begins. The first honest move can be small. One meeting declined, one reply delayed until you can mean it. One project reduced to the part that actually matters. Authority grows again each time your calendar matches your convictions. You step back into your hours and find they were waiting for you the whole time. Slow is not a sin here. It is a threshold. Stand on it a minute longer than comfort and feel your breath come home. Next, a threshold ritual to speak from your own ground. The path narrows and then opens onto a wooden dock, the kind that keeps a quiet promise to the water. Night sits patient around you. The lake is a sheet of ink with a pulse under it, thudding against the posts. You step out a few boards and stop where the planks feel steady. Far houses blink their agreements along the shore. You let your shoulders fall as if setting down a bag no one asked you to carry. 3 moves and you can think alone in public. First, breath. Count 4 in, pause for 2. Send 6 out like a tide leaving the cove. Let the ribs widen to the sides. Feel your tongue soften. Second, naming. Without telling a story, place what presses on the boards beside you. The deadline, the jab, the rumor, the ask. Give each a weather word, gusty, heavy, bright, and let it be. Third, the next true sentence. Not a speech. A line you could carve on wood. What you will do and at what pace. Answer as the owner, not the tenant. Owners know the shoreline and the depth. Tenants try to please the neighbors. Owners set hours. Tenants apologize for doors. When a voice inside you wants to audition, hear it. Then choose the sentence that keeps the dock steady. One clear no, one conditional yes, or one question that turns faces toward facts. Speak it quietly. Let the water carry it back to you whole. Feel the grain beneath your shoes, the rope's rough patience in your palm, the night air cooler near the surface. The body translates first, the mind follows. You turn and now walk back with the lake's cadence in your step, ready to enter the lit room without surrendering your weather. The room is already in motion, slides flashing like traffic lights no one plans to obey. A shiny plan gathers speed. Ship everything, promise more, apologize later. You feel the dock in your bones and let one breath settle your ribs. Then you speak, calm as a level set on wood. Current capacity covers 2 features, a mirror just the fact. Pens hesitate. If we add the third, we risk breaking trust we just repaired. One risk named without drama. Then the clarifying question that invites thinking to return. What outcome matters most this week? Reliability or spectacle? The room tilts toward your tempo. Someone opens the tracker. Another, relieved by the pace, finds the dependency everyone forgot. Urgency deflates into scale. You offer a path that fits the breath you're willing to spend. Cut the flash. Deliver the core, write a brief note on why. No edge, No apology rails, a leader asks, softer now. What does that buy us? A rollout we won't regret Monday and trust we won't have to rebuy. It lands. The drumline quiets. The metronome returns. People start volunteering reality instead of volume. You summarize once, plain as a blueprint. 2 features locked, 3rd in discovery, quality bar intact. This is what original thought sounds like when it refuses theater. You aren't louder. You last longer. Gravity belongs to steady minds. Rooms rotate around consistency. They can breathe inside. Respect rises not as cheering, but as alignment. The exhale of adults choosing workable weather over a storm that photographs well. Keep your shoulders level. Let silence help hold this cadence. Keep the dock underfoot and the question within reach. When heat spikes and language tries to sprint, we'll borrow one line that cools a room on contact. Here is the single sentence for rooms on fire. Here's the line, small enough to carry in a pocket and strong enough to stand in heat. Let's slow to facts and next steps. Say it like you're straightening a picture frame, not swinging a hammer. It's brief, neutral, and portable. It doesn't accuse. It organizes. It works in stand-ups, kitchens, hallways, and late-night texts. Picture the stand-up unraveling. Updates blur. A rumor flares. Someone turns a status question into a jab. The team's pulse stacks. Voices overlap. You breathe to the floor and set the frame. Let's slow to facts and next steps. Oxygen returns. A developer names the failing tests. Another proposes a rollback behind a flag. The sharpest voice lowers because clarity doesn't compete. No one is humiliated. The work is fed. Authority is quiet that survives pressure. When your breath steadies, the room borrows your rhythm. The sentence works because it rides your exhale and hands the moment back to evidence and action. Speak it once and let silence do half the labor. Jung would nod at the psychology underneath. Projection loses fuel when named. Theater dissolves when the stage directions are replaced by facts. Beneath distant sits fear of being left. Beneath arrogance sits a wish you'd match their pace. The line doesn't fight those images. It puts them in a chair 1 seat away from the work. Use the sentence everywhere heat makes people theatrical. Write it at the top of agendas. Keep it on a sticky note. Text it to yourself before you enter a crowded room. Repeat it until others arrive pre-organized, and your own nerves take the shortcut from sting to stance. Keep it simple, steady. Repetition turns posture into character, and character into a culture you can feel underfoot. Life simplifies in ways that feel like strength, not retreat. Fewer yeses, truer work. Projects finish cleaner, edges that hold. Your calendar reads like a story you meant to write. Friendships thin and deepen. Conversations become unhurried and exact. Days stop leaking. You sleep without bargaining. The mirror stops asking who you're performing as and reflects someone you recognize. Return to the first meeting. Same room, same faces, slides humming. Your breath is steadier. You name one plain fact, ask one honest question, and let silence measure the table. No one cheers. The room turns a few degrees toward usable weather. The plan gets smaller and stronger. You leave without the old post-mortem. You didn't win. You held. This is the quiet outlaw's bargain. Thinking for yourself may cost shallow approval, but it buys a life that holds. You weren't against the group. You were for work you'll respect tomorrow. Those who value that find you by the calm you carry. Others drift away without spectacle. Either way, your hours return to their rightful owner. Gentle charge for the road tonight. Stand on the dock before reply, before decision, before sleep. Breathe, name what presses, speak the next true sentence. Keep the sentence for heat, where your hand can find it. Let boundaries be hospitality to the future you're building. Walk at a human tempo, and let depth replace display. When your mind belongs to you, the world's verdict is weather. Some days it rains. You keep working indoors. Some days the sky clears. You take a longer walk. Either way, you remain whole. There's an open seat here for the thoughtful and the tired. Fewer rooms, deeper chairs, slow talk, good work. Sit, breathe, and stay long enough to feel the floor rise under you. We'll keep the pace together.